Happiness, are we ready with the author's profile now? Let's meet our author for today. Happiness, always reading the profile for us.
Our author for today
Okay,
Profile.
okay,
Yes, sir.
okay. Please go ahead.
about
Happiness,
about
are
the
we
author,
ready with the author?
M- Mr. Oluwatobi Moses Sotanmide is a poet, an editor, a preacher, and gospel music artist. Oluwatobi Moses Sotanmide writes from Ibadan, Nigeria. His published reviews include Tade Ipadiola, The Sahara Testament, Jade, Jude Idada Oduduwa, King of Edos, Toumi Coker's Promise of the Future, The Cobhams, Asuko's satirical song, Busit. His works have appeared in Aki Review, Irawa Poetry Anthology, Sankofa Mag, The Nigerian Tribune, Daily Trust, The Guardian, Leadership, as well as Blueprint newspaper. Ladies and gentlemen, kindly welcome Mr. Oluwatobi Moses Sotanmide.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, author Sotanmide, for joining us today. Please, we are glad to have you. We've had your profile being read to us. Let's meet you in your own mouth. Just like Yoruba would say that, let's hear you from the horse's mouth. So, who is Oluwatobi Sotanmide? Please tell us about yourself.
Thank you. Thank you so much, my host, Mr. Babs Oladile, and to my guests here. I appreciate you all. Thank you for joining in this book reading. I am Oluwatobi Moses Sotanmide, a poet, a reviewer, a singer, a writer, and currently a student of Diaspora and Transnational Studies, Master's Studies in the University of Ibadan, almost rounding up. And that's what I can say for now.
Okay.
And I believe by the time you engage more with my work, maybe you'll get to discover even more of me that I'm not able to share with you now.
Yeah, we are
But
looking
I'm a
forward
poet.
to hearing
I'm a
you.
poet.
Yeah.
I write poetry. I write poetry. Thank you
Okay.
so much.
Thank you very much for joining us today. Obviously, a man of many hats, wearing many caps at the same time, diaspora student, author, singer, writer. And I believe family-wise, you also have some roles that you play. And it's nice meeting you. So the way we're going to do it, you will read some parts or excerpts from your work to us. Probably we'll go about 3 rounds. If time permits us, usually we do between 2 and 3. It depends on how the audience, if they start to drill with too many questions, they will not be able to take the third round. But if they are more relaxed, they are just enjoying and sipping them in, then we can take a third round of reading. So you do the first round and then just choose from wherever you want to read from your work. And you take a pause after some time. Once you start to feel breathless, you take a pause, catch some breath, take a sip of water, and will allow you to just recover. And then we use that moment to ask you questions, to probe you about your work, about your inspiration, about what are the hidden messages, the overt or the covert message you're trying to portray through your works. And if we have very constructive criticism, this platform is also usually graced by intellects, by critics. So if we have some we have some things that we ask you. I mean, why did you do this? Why did you write this? And all that. It's not to run you down. It's just to help you to improve your work. But let's see how the occasion plays out. It's not scripted. It's a very unscripted platform. So you have the floor now. Please, you can start when you want and pause when you feel that, okay, yes, you've had enough.
Thank you, my host.
Yeah.
So I will be reading some sections of my collection of poems. The book itself, I'm showing it to us now. It may appear reversed, but it's titled "We Shall All Laugh and Swear." We shall all laugh and swear. It's a title I got from the philosophy that is drawn from the Yoruba belief that when a matter is beyond crying, then you begin to laugh. And I think that described as a metaphor for Nigeria itself. And the polity is in itself a mystic space that instead of crying, sometimes the coping mechanism is that people are suffering, according to Fela, and smiling. And I start from my opening statement in that book. I said, if the world under you tremors, find a refuge beneath it. If the world under you tremors, find a refuge beneath it. And that itself introduces us to the confusion that is ahead. Because when a world is trembling, you ought to find refuge elsewhere, for it seems there is nowhere to go. So I read my first poem. My first poem is titled Legacy. Legacy. Legacy as what is being done, what is being projected as as the the scorecard of our political class, of the elite class, or the leadership of the nation. Legacy. I read. Whoever doubts the valiance of time, though its moments drag across life, musing. Whoever doubts the valiance of time, though its moments drags across life, musing. In those days, dust will not greet our curious hills on garnished freeways. Streets, beaming with happy chants, seldom stay the sway of gloom on plundered breaths. There's a promised reign of concrete novelty, of towering heights and elite savour, that arts are not fed. Why blame the gods? Unlettered men are fairer, easy to crush, and hard to herd. Starve the soul, feed the belly. Famished notes hardly interrogate a muse. Forges of dancing lips are precious untruths, rarest sparks in the league of dry twigs. It is a day, season of surplus cash. Come, feast, you given to rations. Barren womb never says enough. Give and give, leech of earth. Twisted reasons, sloppy minds. Is 30 shekels the price for a generation? When insight escapes the wise, life turns a telling tale. Posterity shall rise, jubilant, in rueful memorial of those fruitful days, time sold to mean batters of savage tongues. And that is how legacy ends. I don't know, shall I continue? Shall I give us another read? Then I move on to another
Yes,
poetry.
continue. Yes.
Now, this is titled Civilization, coined from civilization, but I introduce the tonality of Yoruba, the way we, especially from Ibadan, civilization. Now I read, Okun many war. Darkness does not roam with honor. Ọmọdé àtàgbà mọ́lẹ̀. Who says the old is wiser? Omidan bí abilékọ. Not all are mothers that are women. Ọwọ́ ọmọdé ò tó pẹpẹ. Is there something left to hide? This civilization, sir, like a maiden marrying many men. And that's how civilization ends. Now, I want to read about change. Change. I wrote about change about 10 years ago. Yes, no, about 12 years ago. Before the coming in of a particular slender man that led us. He has passed on to the beyond now. And I wrote about change. I said, history just a singular moment in time. I repeat, history is just a singular moment in time. Change is mutant. Nature's tale too told. Once on a derived land, it won crest, muzzling threshing horses. Change is mutant. Brood of all tame to canine instincts. Milk or permanent, still to the charmer's call, to seize and to tear. Change is mutant. Rabid season of lure, gaiety, dancing, whirling, prime for the market of little souls. Change is mutant. City of hollowed walls, of horsemen plying the needle's busy heart, vultures looking for ravaged will. Change is mutant. A day far too high in distant quarters, fain on our land, its nurse through bleeding nights. And that is how my poetry on change ends. Let me read the fourth one. This is about scapegoats. This person is a scapegoat. And about scapegoat, I wrote, still, but be sure you are not caught. And if you are caught, be wise. Split the fortune. He is found doing what nobody does. And so he flees until edged to the wall. He stoops. His heart throbs behind his pleading lips, faltering. Suddenly, his accusers are gone. They are better and he knows. Shrewd servants, ordained acolytes. For true religion is on the streets, where greased palms hail the gods to greeting field. That is the fourth poetry. And this one, I call it One Day, under the subheading Split Image. Split Image. This one day was about some youth that I saw somewhere one day. And this happened around maybe 2008, 2009. So it's been long I wrote this. I said, one day, tears will fill the eyes, and sorrows will fill the heart. And when at last all is lost, we shall all laugh and swear. The sun is up, its cheery beams glide the eastern sky. The terminus too, both of too many hot-footed wayfarers, fastening their ways to hastening wheels. A vendor's joint jostles. Prodigals argue points and place of young fertile minds. With leather hop on Loch Green, we end day in, are earned week out. Menchi Bentham past Rolando. Rolando Bentham past Menchi. How the rowdy exchange spins. 1 point stamps, Watch another snore. One gauges another's right eye with a straying finger. The former, our community youth leader, the latter, an eager compatriot. Their bout is sight to spite. What gain the day may yield, the night we dream. Dares a wretched tale missing folly. Stakes on chances of victories or losses, or draws in the fleeting hours of play. Caller, how far now? E show? Obo, e no show. The game no clear. Abi, I see 50 naira, take chop rice there. And that is how one day ends. I think I have read about 5 poetry. I would love for us to engage it now. So we can have a robust
Wow.
time.
Thank you very much for reading those poetry to us. Okay, do we have any question? Do we have any comment? Any reaction, any response? Please, it's time for us to engage the author and his works now. Anyone, please, who has a question? Anyone, please indicate by raising your hand or by just unmuting yourself and ask your question. Or, okay, Mary Ajifowoke, please, let's hear from you. Ask your question. Mary, you have the mic now. You can talk.
All right, thank you so much, sir. Good evening, sirs. Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much, Mr. Oluwatobi, for the book. I just have a few questions. First of all, I'm curious, why is the book titled We Shall All Laugh and Swear? Secondly, what is the motivation behind writing the book? So these are the two questions. Thank you so much, and well done, sir.
Thank you so much. So, to the first question, I titled it "We Shall All Laugh and Swear" because it was the last inspiration I got concerning the whole collection, drawn from a particular introduction to the poetry one day that I just read to you. In fact, I initially titled the collection Emirate, something that has to do with blood, rupturing of blood, like a blood flow. So someone advised me that was, in fact, the graphics I used them was horror. If you see blood, oozing out of someone's head, like someone who was under intense suffering. And that was my reality when I was writing it. It's like blood was actually gushing out of my head. Metaphorically, not literally. And I subsume that to mean it applies to an average person within this state called Nigeria. So, but looking forward to, not being so, how will I put it, graphic or violent, quote and unquote, in my presentation of the title. I used the type to rupture again. But then one day I was reading through this one day. It's one of the best poems I love in my collection because it's about betting, how people bet, and at the end of the day, after spending so much hours on their work, earning money, they would go and spend it on football betting. And tomorrow they ask themselves that caller is show, they say the game don't cut. They will now begin to borrow money from caller that caller, can you give me 15 naira? And that alludes to the history behind the writing. 15 naira then to buy rice and beans and meat and eat. To tell you that it's been long I wrote it was 2008, 2009. So I now saw we shall all laugh and swear. You know that kind of hysteric laughing that you laugh when the suffering is overboard. And I said, okay, let me temper it with we shall all laugh and swear. It's more coded for those who could read meaning into it know that when you are laughing and you are swearing, it's a contradiction in terms. And that's the irony behind the experience embedded in the work and exactly what I want you to communicate to the reader. It's so full of irony, paradoxes that you have to reconcile after reading it. So thank you. And I think I've delved into the inspiration behind it. I love to observe my environment so much. I love to be caught in. I don't want to live through life as if nothing is happening. And if you are a writer, you are more like a seer too. And you want, not for the sake of the polity you are writing about, it may not be necessarily satirical in him, maybe just to, I mean, obituarize, just scribble things down. But then over time, you discover that what you have written is beyond you. It has to reach out to others. Others may draw inspiration from it, others may draw hope from it, others may draw strength from it. And you don't want to keep it to yourself. So my motivation for writing itself is to define, is to be able to interpret.
Well, I think sorry, the author, I think network might have, sorry about the network mishap. Hopefully, he joins us soon, and then you can take it off from where he left off the explanation. Okay. While we wait for him to join back or for his network to be restored, I think we can still just take another round of introduction. Let's get to still meet some of us who joined after we have finished introducing ourselves. I can see some more names have popped up. We have Teniola, Tunode, Grace Kayode, in between words, okay, sorry, Barrister Tejumade okay, Amos Akonde. I think, Yunusa, have you introduced yourself? Yunusa. So let's meet your place. Let's know who you are, where you're joining us from today, and what you do. So let's hear from Teniola Tunade. Teniola, can you talk? You have the mic for some seconds. If not, we'll move to the next person. Okay, Grace, can we meet you, please? Grace Kayode, please introduce yourself.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, even though there's some other noise we're hearing as well.
Hello.
Okay, Grace, can we meet you, please?
Hello.
Hi. Okay, one of you should just go ahead. There's background noise where I think maybe Grace is. So Tenala, let's meet you, please. Then we'll listen to Grace. Nobody's talking? Okay, Amos Akonde or Mrs. Okay, please, let's meet you today.
Good day, everyone.
Good day, ma'am.
I am Tejumade Shijuade. Okay, wow. I'm a legal practitioner. I'm joining from Lagos, Akonjo. I'm the director of compliance, LRF.
Yes,
have a nice day, everybody.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Tejumade joining us from Akonjo, Lagos. That's the director for compliance and governance at LRF. We're always glad to have you join us today. Amos, please, can we hear from you? And then Yunusa Timitope.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.
I am Amos Akonde. I'm joining from Abuja, Nigeria. I'm a public servant. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. Dr. Amos Akonde, PhD, joining us from Abuja, Nigeria. Thanks for always being there. Okay, Tenola, you are raising your hand. Are you going to talk now? Please, let's hear you.
Indeed, I am.
Okay.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
I apologize. I was trying to get to my laptop to unmute.
Okay, sorry.
So my name is Teniola Tonode. I'm joining from Lagos. Met Mr. Sotanmide only a few days ago, and
Wow.
I was so inspired by him.
Wow.
I thought I had to be here.
Wow, that's very powerful. You know, just met him like how many days ago, and he's had that much impact on you. That's commendable. And your voice, actually thought maybe you are one of these my neighbor in the United States, because your voice sounds like somebody who's based in the US. Nice having you around today.
Thank you so
Okay,
much for having me.
we are always happy to have intellectuals join us. You know, sir, Timitope, let's meet you, please. I'm glad the author is back, but let's just finish this round of introduction.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening. Yes, apart from good evening, let's get to meet you in your own mouth. Temitope, the time is going. You are unmuted, but we cannot hear what you're saying. Mary, I'm not sure you introduce yourself to us. Mary, okay, good evening. Temitope, please just introduce yourself.
I'm sorry for the interruption. A call came in. My name is Yunusa. My name is Temitope. That's my first name. My last name is Yunusa. I'm joining from Mowe, Ogun State.
Wow.
I'm a student of letters at the University of Lagos.
Wow. Wow. Thank you very much, Temitope Yunusa, joining from Mowe, Ogun State. Student of University of Lagos, joining us this morning where I am and this evening over there in Nigeria. Grace, can we meet you, please? And then Mary, we'll hear from you as well. Before we now go back to the author for today.
Hello, everyone.
Hi, someone.
Right. My name is Grace Kayode, and I'm located presently in Ibadan, Oyo State, Nigeria.
Okay.
I am a recent graduate of the University of Ibadan, and I'm a marketing specialist in the method and management.
Okay. Thank you. Marketing specialist, marketing specialist, meta expert, Grace, recent graduate from University of Ibadan, joining us from Ibadan today. Mary, we'll hear from you, and then we'll go back to our author.
Thank you very much, sir. Good evening, everyone. Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
My name is Mary Ajifoke. I'm joining from Lagos. I'm a researcher, and I'm currently an MSc scholar at Babcock University. Thank you very much.
Wow. Thank you, Mary Ajifoke, MSc scholar, Babcock University, joining us from Lagos, Center of Excellence, Nigeria. Okay, so author Sotanmide, we are zooming back to you so that you continue your explanation. Sorry, network, maybe you get a spot where network is really stronger where you are, and then you can reach us from there. So, over to you.
First of all, I'm so sorry. It was a terrible glitch, network glitch here, and Nigeria happened again. I'm sorry about that. Can't be overstressed. That's actually.
You should write a poem about that. You know, Nigeria happens.
I should. Nigeria happens. So I hope I was able to attend to the sister that has Mary Ajifoke's question, and I am still hoping others are still going to ask some questions before I proceed to other poems.
Yes, please. Any other question for our author? I have one while people are still booting with their questions and comments. And you know, from what I could hear from the 5 poetry you've read to us, there's no clear-cut theme. They are addressing different aspects of human endeavors. Is that deliberate, or you just I mean, I don't know, is that deliberate? Because I would think, okay, we have this collection, and then maybe most of the poems in that collection, they're actually addressing there's a consolidating theme that will start emerging. But in your case, you've touched on politics, you've touched on economy, society. Why is that the case?
Thank you. Life is itself is holistic.
Mm,
So my approach to writing is holistic too, and I pick a line here, I pick an experience there,
mm,
and everything sums up and comes out as a collection. That is why it's a collection of poetry,
mm,
collection of experiences.
mm,
And I only did not mention it. This collection is actually into three subheadings. I have the first part called rupture, the
mm,
rupturing. And the rupturing is what you have been hearing about. I've
mm,
told you about legacy, like people just tying good roads, doing street lights, feeding the belly of people but not feeding their minds,
mm,
making sure the spirit of the people they are leading is tapped.
mm,
And it is easier to lead people whose belly are filled and but their souls are starved. Then
mm,
I read civilization, how
mm,
the transnationality of Western influence is not making us tilt towards their technological advancement and the virtues that comes along with it, but the so-called enlightenment that further ruptures our moral fabric as a nation, where we think that, and that itself is a response to suffering. We cannot interpret Western influence properly than entertainment, than something just to enjoy and make us live life. We live life off such experiences. We escape into Westernism. So I see it as a form of rupturing. Then remember, I also read about the tale of, I've not read about the tale of victory. I read about scapegoating as an experience of corruption where someone who was wise, he stole and he was caught. And because he was wise, he split the fortune and those who were accusing him were gone. So I've touched on life in general, the legacy of the government. I've touched on the response of the people. I've touched on corruption, and I've touched on youths. Youths, I mean, standing at a vendor's joint, reading newspaper. If you are familiar with UI Gate, First Gate, you see them early Monday morning arguing points and plays, and someone telling another that, what about your game? That one will reply to, game may cut you. That cut means that the game was spoiled by some team that lost, and then they will now return to they look for money, and out of that money they will play the game again. So it shows the cycle of suffering, not necessarily the pyramid approach from top down, but sometimes even those who are being led can be an harbinger of their own misery. So, and that is why I approach it that way to make sure I'm holistic and touch on various aspects of the societal themes that are, I mean, pronounced or that are relevant to me myself before it becomes relevant to even my readers. Thank you. Hello, sir.
Okay, good evening, sir. Thank you so much, sir, for that answer. It's like the network is fluctuating on his end. He's not currently on the meeting. Okay.
Thank you.
Please, do we have any other question for Mr. Shotomide before he can move on to the next part of his reading? Any other question, comments, constructive criticism? Anyone? If you have any question, you can raise up your hand. Okay, Mr. Babs is back.
Sorry about that. I think when the author mentioned rupture, my system too ruptured, and my system just ruptured, and I was surprised. I was seeing a blank screen, and then just started all over again. So sorry about the breaking transmission from my side. I was surprised. What this system is it like? Is it now having the ears of human? So, do we have any other question, any other comment for our author for today? Question, comment. I will come back to Teniola later, but please, you can proceed with the second round of reading now, and then let's hear you so that we can enjoy another round of delectable poetry.
Thank you so much. So this is speech image 3. Speech image. I titled it speech image. Somewhere, nowhere. That's the title. Speech image. Somewhere, nowhere. The speech image means an exact representation of an experience, that I had, and peculiar to my quality here in Nigeria. I wrote somewhere, nowhere. En route Obafemi Owode Abeokuta from Ibadan. This was when I was traveling to Abeokuta from Ibadan. I wrote, if tomorrow refuses to learn its lesson, teach it today. If tomorrow refuses to learn its lesson, teach it today. It was not fair, the road that led us here. Same in Providence will at first, that led us through further way. The place locked somewhere, nowhere, with force from plagues, barren hearts, such fortune still, spent on fiery sticks and mocking liquor, breed perils, born, become more humane, learn fairer life of craftier men, ill by wailing siren, lords on lofty wheels, splash lame dust on their ardent faces. One day they will rise, face as fleets, dwelling among men. Dwelling among men.
Okay.
Then that is the end. Then I wrote about the outcry. You see this matter of dandies using bike to attack villages. I had written about it some time ago. I wrote the outcry.
Please proceed. We can hear you. We can hear you. Please proceed.
Can you hear me?
Okay, maybe.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. We can hear you, please.
Thank you so much. Now, the Pharisees are fairer, else the master state is higher. A source into distant sky is sniffed into time's sighing breeze. A season is known to rain or to cease, to plant or to wait. Days read by the sun, it sets, and the moon it yields. A nation do not know, my kind will not understand, that the web of deceit, though rootless, seldom sell its fancy tale to a thoughtless heart. We think, do not think we barely. We think and decide, don't you think? Before a neighbor's groaning is heard, or his failing feet greet my helpless doorway, the watcher blew a horn, struck a gun, unfamiliar. We unheeding our logs to his sails of solo feast, deafening, prime, and steady.
The rousing dust is not a spiral quest of a fearless eastern wind, or the noontide mischief or a hurrying whirlwind. The denizens are upon us, the horse and its rider, the harrow and its acre, our livers, our lands, our sun. Then, about speech image again, I wrote, what do you know? There are no strangers. This art belongs to all. That was the argument of those who want to take over the land. How will you know? Who cannot read the sky, nor the signs of times, aspects of clouds and winds, sign? How will you know that kingdoms are soon owned by servant traders, hawking the earth with ointment, blaring songs from other lands, brooding? How will you know? A rail scarcely runs its own course. It reasons, searches colonies, civilization, bringing men to buy and to see, to beg, lowly in simple tents, near marketplaces, under shrubs of earth, grown for science. Along routes and turns, geography is taught to the dullest of us, trailing the rich in their fancy world, sold to his, and to the price of sin. The poor lives among you, and they will ride on strangers' backs, arguing over a distance the price of a land cheaply sold to the chair winds of learning, espionage, turned here and there, by trials and errors learn names of streets, princes and avenues, cities and homes. Suppliance is a technology. Pains a weakling, borrows an inch, takes a man for father. And that is how I learned that these Okada riders that are coming to Lagos, Ibadan, they can come upon us anytime. You use your own mouth to describe where you are living for them. And the reality is here. They just put it down somewhere in Ibadan now. We are the one even raising their children that will later rise up to be violent towards us. Thank God for Lagos State government is sending them out now. I am not against movement. I'm not against freedom of movement, but I'm against going to another people's land and violently taking over those lands and killing them in the name that the heart belongs to us all. And that was why I introduced that poetry by saying there are no strangers, the earth belongs to us all. And that's the argument of those who are taking over people's land. Thank you. Now, I wrote about Iwakuwa, and this will be the last aspect of rupture. Once upon a hunter in 7 forests, that which is not lost, we search diligently for you. We find it with sheer hooves loitering our captive. What cause the sense cannot unknot? Where else shall our lenses scan? We turn the world upside down, searching for what is not lost. Now, I want to read into another space. Another place says saw nativity. He says that it is true, and I should not lie. Even on this noble smooth way, I have hedged forked paths all my days, my world ever close to me. This was the experience I had one day when I was driving on a newly tarred road. I mean, unbeknown to me, unconsciously, I was dodging potholes. I was imagining that I will see potholes on a newly tarred road. So I was imagining that something was wrong with my head. That even on a novel way, I was still dodging forked pathways because my world are so much close to my heart and it has become so violent. I was already traumatized. So I wrote a particular poem, some particular poems within this state. I wrote about survival. I wrote about survival. I said, survive. Still fair, O marrow of fainting thread. To hunger, farm a land. to nakedness, wield a distaff, to death, breathe a life, live before you are made, last creations of the state so named, etchings on palace walls, scarcely hold the chamber's trail. Name the grains on your roasted maize, each hungry bite, a code for your famished soul. When life says woes, clench your fist. If life flashes hope, do not nurture it. Let it stick between the ravening teeth of bleak hours. For such life neither kills nor spares. And that is how I wrote about survival. Nothing is certain. Even when you have access to the palace, the etchings on the wall of the palace will not show you to the treasury. So you are lost even within the palace. So I wrote about Ibadan, something I wrote about a warlord. I won't mention his name, but he was a warlord in this city called Ibadan one time ago. And I wrote, I said, here where I grew, I wonder why I sorely miss those years of warm misery. And that was my experience. I was missing some miserable years. Where are those years? It was a traumatic experience. I said, here where I grew, thrived one-time warlord, unforgotten, now retired, a mount amidst many veils. Why this quiet, whose yard bleeds and lowers so ever, and lives on laps of fatted feasts? Cheapness for sale, the common must come, to feast of their own wealth. Feast the god, lest he be hungry. Pay your dues and live at will. Loot the throne, for spare some grains. Lousy voice of expediency. Fancy these two has come to stay. Scarcely know that these two will fail. The man's house is now overgrown with wheat, but his compound then was always bleating and lowing and living on the laps of fatted feasts. But time has overcome even the fiercest of men.
Wow.
Now, I wrote about the forest. Here, the forest is a metaphor for Nigerians. The forest. I said, their wooing is in the air. After season sacred rain, sprinkling. The wrinkled face of earth is rare. The marriage rouses and steadies. The song a song, deafening. The dance a dance, maddening. And suddenly a quiet. The forest is happy. The trees are green, but the barns are empty. And suddenly the harvest is fast. The forest will dance to the tune of the wind. A fire will ever burn to our music. So let the forest learn before time. Their wooing is in the air. And that is how the one about the forest ends. Now, I wrote about Akube. I wrote about Akube because Africa is not just a dumping ground for Western philosophy or ways of life that we have imbibed to override our own consciousness. Even from the most insignificant element like Akube, you can see the nature of an African. I wrote about Akube. I said, who needs comely frames? Some souls to ride to endless ease. This fella fair and full, with scented blue leaf soul. He is rare, fortune friend of classy tastes. Daily rubs on horse, such pricely losser, that our glossy fronts sparkle golden rays. In and out on garnished plains, high and low on clever clouds, we journey far and wide, dine with kings and dance with queens. But suddenly, from leaving glossy prints on lush lawns, we are given to trudging muddy streets and desire paths. Who needs comely frames? Some souls to ride the endless days. This failure, rough and raw, with utter native soul, he is rare, hapless time, plebeian, fastens us onto his awful mass, marches on horse to ceaseless aches. The stamping is not good at all, and our skin is stretching and peeling from careless of intense rails. So we mourn and bleed from much heedless paths. Idle stones, probing steels, wretched dance, beaten away, with feces of lags to live. What better way to serve the time? Wearied one and torn, our Lord's unsullied hills, buried deep beneath such heaps of times and makes unfairly use. And that is how I ended Akube. Akube was bought as a fairly used, but he ended up on the heap and dung site of unfairly used material. So you can hear the groaning of the shoe itself that instead of lush lawns, green space, was now picking I wrote feces of lags. You know, it was you know when you walk in some spaces, you can step on feces that are defecations in open spaces. So the Akube was complaining that no, this is not my experience where I was coming from. And it's it's a comedy, it's comic, but it shows the transnationality of experiences of even a shoe that is worn over there in America or United States of Western States and the one that is worn here in Nigeria. So
Okay, I think really I can see that you are really enjoying yourself reading this work to us, and even me, I got carried away enjoying myself as I heard you reading. But let's also draw the audience into this conversation now. Please, do we have any question? I mean, all of you can see that this author enjoys creativity. He enjoys the work. This is not a pain work. This is okay. Amos, you have a question, a comment. Please, you have the floor now. Please ask your question, make a comment.
Okay, thank you, sir. I think one of the poems you read just now, if I guess right, you talked about the politics. Probably you are trying to refer to Amala politics of those days. I'm just guessing. So if that is the case, how how do we relate that particular topic or that poem to the title of the book that we shall all laugh and swear? Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much. You got it right. And it was the Amala Politics by the late Adeduwu, a fearsome warlord. And he said that wọ́n pè wá ní riffraff, wọ́n pè wá ní riffraff in one of his interviews. He said, ìbẹ́yìn tẹ gbóyìnbó ṣèbẹ́ wà nílé yín, àwa riffraff lájọba lórí yín. The reality. That is how the man knows how to do it. And are we not laughing and swearing now? The toll, I mean, those time paid on development. I mean, I'm in my early 40s now. I'm talking of what I experienced in my early 20s. Years were stolen from me because a warlord is at the center of power play of a political dynasty, political movement. And those that were able to suit his ideology, however inobjective, were the one in Yoruba, party. ẹni tó bá kángun sí ni là ń bá gbèlú. That the person that is standing next to you is the one you drag together. Now, if he finds them near him and he nominates them and they could do well, he went ahead with them. And we suffered from that. And we are actually, because those repercussions were not immediate. And now, because of those things that happened then, we remember the days of Akala. We remember what they did to the present day Olubadan. The man came with innovations to Ibadan. Look at how his government was truncated. And you can see many things that we ended up laughing and swearing. We are suffering from that mismanagement of political space, political will, political, investment. I mean, the finance went, lives were lost. You can mention it. It was a terrible moment in the politics of Ibadan. And such is still playing out today. Though it's packaged, it's much more packaged now. Okay, but it's still playing out. You can see it in the last election, and you can still see it with the kuli and the akara distribution. Yeah, the idea is to feed the belly of the people and not feed their mind. And whenever you are able to succeed in doing that, you'll be able to lead them. They will follow you anywhere. Just feed people's belly and don't feed their mind. And that's the way it is. I hope I'm able to answer you in part.
That's profound. Any other comment, any other question for our author or the poet for today? Anyone have a question? Have a comment? Have a constructive criticism on the work, please. You have the mic. And then, okay, while still waiting for those who have questions, we'll soon be rounding off, please. I want to.
Okay, good evening.
Good evening. Please go ahead. Let's meet you.
I am Senator Ib. To our poets, I can say that you have a very strong observation skill, and I think that is one of the good quality of a good poet. Okay, my question is this: have you ever had any cause to reshape your poem, or because of the fact that maybe your initial understanding of the situation wasn't what it's supposed to be?
Wow. Please just continue with your question, Tohib. I'm sure.
Okay, so just because the way you perceive a particular situation, after maybe sometimes you discover that it wasn't supposed to be like that. Do you understand? And you've had any cause to change your poem again. Has it been happening like that?
That's a very profound question you just asked now. Unfortunately, the author, I think the network has shunted him out of view, but it's a very, very relevant question. Because there comes a time when you have to actually even reconsider your stance. Maybe you know better, or experiences reshape your perspectives. Could be suffering, could be fortune, just make you have to tweak your philosophy, your worldview. And that's a very, very valid and important question to ask anybody who is putting out thoughts out there. I've had my own fair share of that kind of situation where you have to adjust mid-course to try. And I'm hoping that the author will join us soon so that he can answer that question himself. But I was going to put Teniola on the spot because Teniola had a very interesting testimonial about the author. He said he just met him just some days ago. And obviously, he must have made quite a good impression on him for him to have decided to actually be part of this event today. So, Tenola, do you want to share? Is it a literary encounter or something that is personal? If it's personal, you don't have to talk. Maybe something that you would like us to know. I mean, we would really like to hear from you so that we can even get to know our author better from another person's perspective. Tenola, can you talk? Or if you're not, we're fine. We'll just move on.
Thank you so much. Well, I'm able to talk.
Oh, good. Okay.
Yes, because I've only met the author for a brief period.
Mm-hmm.
We're talking 4 days here, and I suppose that would mean that my testimonial for now is going to be brief.
Sure.
So I met Mr. Sotanmide at the Africanist Anthropologist Association conference hosted at the Institute of African Studies, UI, University of Ibadan, where I had, gone to meet with a few people, and then we met through a mutual brother, I should say, Dr. Tosin Gogi, and we met. We got introduced. We talked for a bit, and he offered to drive me to the park, to catch the bus back to Lagos. I was. I understood better when we got talking on the ride back to the bus station, that he and then he said, I found out that he's a poet, and that made a whole lot of sense to me. It made sense to me, and I was also pleasantly surprised because in my line of work, I do some research on philosophic sagacity. I have written a few poems myself, and I have met a lot of poets. What I'm seeing, I suppose, in Mr. Sotanmide is that, very old classic idea of the poet as conscience.
Yeah.
And it's the first time that I'll be, listening to him read his poems. First time that I would encounter his poems. I'm also not surprised that he's writing these very conscientious political points. Because the brief interaction that I've had with him, it shows someone who does not only write pen on paper, typing on the laptop or the phone, whatever it is that poets use, to pen their poems. What I'm saying is somebody who does not just do that, but somebody who has, sort of embodied some of the sensibilities of poetry, one of which is conscience. Conscience, for a nation that is confused, that is ailing, a nation that is deteriorating in many respects, but also as conscience in society, someone who just saw someone else who is basically a stranger and then decided, I'm going to drive you to the park. So I think that I will stop my testimonial there. But that is basically what I'm seeing in Mr. Sotanmide.
Thank you very much, Tenola, for that very lucid and well articulated testimonial about your encounter with our author for today. I mean, we can see from what we've heard so far that he's a very conscientious writer who functions as a conscience of the society, conscious of the community, seeing things not going right and then writing about it, not just keeping silent or just mumbling to himself. And I mean, that's a commendable attribute. I mean, people express vexations in different ways, but this is one of the best ways you can actually express your frustrations, even your joy, through poetry. Okay, while you were away, or I think it was, Tohib was asking a very, very interesting question about your poetry, your work. Definitely, you're writing from a perspective, from a standpoint, from a worldview. That have there been ever a time where you have to reconsider some of those your perspectives based on maybe experiences or things that have happened to you that make you, oh, I had written this thing, but now that I know better, or now that I have a better understanding of the situation, maybe I wouldn't have said this, maybe I would have written this. Have you had that kind of experience before as a writer or as a person?
Thank you so much. I needed to log in through my phone now because the
Yeah, we can see
computer
that.
was misbehaving. So, so thank you, Mr. Tonode, for your commendation. And to the question now, honestly, I've never.
Well, this network today, let's hope that the network operates and we have the author back shortly. Wow. Looking at the time. Okay. Great.
It becomes your truth. It becomes your life.
Pause a
It's
little,
something
please.
that you cannot deny.
We lost some of the things you were saying. What we had last from you was never. So maybe you want to go back
so
a little.
Can you hear me now?
Your network, I think, just hung around there. So can you just rewind and say that again?
Thank you. I've never had the cause to look back on my writing and wished I never penned something, or should have maybe either philosophically, either poetically, either the device or the lines. Poetry itself, writing itself, as leads to posterity and has a life of its own. So you don't have to beat it up too much. It's inspirational. Yes, I've done some etymological understudy of words, the construction of lines and meters and everything. I've done my assignment, and word study and how to fit words into historical spaces and contextual use of words. I've done that. But as regards the inspiration, the cause for writing itself, I've never regretted looking back, because they are lived experiences. They are my truths, which to a large extent others could identify with them. And if in the long run, if in 50 years' time, my poetry no longer resonates with the times, it would have resonated historically. It will have been historically true. So, looking back in hindsight, you could have said, okay, we can look into his poetry and discover that once upon a time, 15 naira could buy rice and beans and serve you as a meal money for a single meal in the morning. Because in that poetry, I said, Kola, shey I fit get 15 naira, take chop rice there. That tells you that I did not write that poem 10 years ago. I wrote it about 18 or 20 years ago. Because that's the only time in the history of Nigeria when you can buy 30 naira rice and 20 naira beans. Because a scoop of rice now is now 500 naira.
Wow.
Can you see the historical aspect? So I wouldn't do a disservice to myself by trying to alter it in any way. So both by experience, by history, I am good. So, because sometimes we may be forced to think and say, oh, maybe I should not have written that. You don't need to readapt to the times. You have actually represented an history, an historical trend in your writing, where people can trace, they can look at it and say, okay, using the internal evidences in these writings, we can say that this poetry was written when someone can use 15 naira to eat a singular meal. And people will just do it. Historians will just do the calculation and say, okay, maybe the time this man wrote this thing, maybe a Congo of rice was just maybe 150 naira or 100 naira or 200 naira. You understand? So I don't suffer so much. I don't suffer myself so much trying to look back. And with all sincerity, with the little I have imbued into the work itself, I think I am at peace with it.
Okay, thank you very much for that. I'm afraid that is all we can take for today because time is fast spent. I mean, it's been such a lovely, lovely, lovely session today. Hearing from our
May I plead for, let me read so that it does not sound all gloomy. I wrote about better days. Just one poem. Better days.
That's fine. We're looking at the time. Okay, please go ahead.
For that opportunity. I wrote about better days. I say better days. Why suffer the loss of your porridge on a birthright that will not be owned? Better eat your porridge now, because the birthright may not be far-fetched. But there are better days. The day spring shall come, unashamedly bright. It shall bear the horrors of the night of praise sold to cruelty of predations, crimson drained in the lost bargains of strife. We shall be the brood of the fallen, sitting requiem on verges of will. We shall return with the sun high, conjuring hope for life's peer to see better days. There shall be trailing dots, roused by paddling hills, a vow to revive former days, days of cheap chatters at the gate. For we are free men, living this moment in time, enjoying life while it lasts, waiting on tomorrow's promise.
Wow.
Thank you.
What a way to actually end the session. Well, thank you so much for actually cheering us up with that very upbeat poem that you just read to us about better days ahead. And you know, today is actually the future of yesterday that we talked about. So this poem, this is your collection now. If you want to buy it, where can readers get this your poetry? I mean, where is it available? Can you tell us so that for those who are willing to have your collection?
Thank you. Effort had been made to distribute it to, because it's already adopted by Osun State government for secondary schools. So I concentrated most of my distribution to Osun State then for their secondary schools. Alas. So I am planning on withdrawing some of the copies I have there. I have over 1,000 copies there. Withdrawing them and putting them in public bookstores. But pending that distribution network and the various stages it goes through before it can be made available, I can take it on myself to waybill for interested buyers. It's also on Amazon. You can buy it online. It's available online if you want to buy it. So it's available on Amazon and some site where you can purchase online. I mean the soft copy. But if you really want to have access to the hard copy and even autograph it for you, I will take it upon myself to waybill to you. I mean, just add maybe a few nairas to it to get it across to you. So, and I will be most available to run that errand, pending the time the distribution network will be perfected. And if there is anyone who is willing to help in this distribution, maybe link me up to someone in a bookstore in Lagos. I know of some bookstores in Ibadan that I can approach that will take it up from me, but then it will only be useful for those who are within Ibadan networks. And I can even serve them on my own. I can reach out to individuals who are interested. So I would be most willing to work with anyone who is willing to help me in this. And even those who are in the diaspora, if you are willing to help with the distribution, I am most happy to work with you. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you for that. Please, you've all heard the author. Want to get the book? Autograph copy is always the cherished treasure to have. Please reach out to Happiness. Happiness is here, I believe, and or just if you can join we have a forum where we actually just share ideas, also let people know about the events we are having at LRF. If you can join that WhatsApp group, Happiness will be able to help us to coordinate how you can get your copy of the book. So, Happiness, if you are here, please drop the link to the LRF forum. I think that has been done earlier. Yes, I can see it now. There's this link that I'll drop it again so that you can join, and then Happiness would reach out or would send a public information for those who are willing to obtain copies of the book, and then she will coordinate with our author on how you get your copies. So please join the forum so that you can also be apprised of what is going on at LRF. LRF is a foundation that we set up some years ago to combat the issue of poor access to education in Nigeria, low literacy rate, and poor reading culture. And what we do, we go to schools to go and talk to the children about the importance of reading. We also meet quarterly to bring in stakeholders in the Nigerian education sector, not just those in government, but people who are affected, parents, students, lecturers, academics, authorities to come and discuss certain issues that are affecting access to education, quality of education, the standard of our curriculum content in Nigeria. We do this every quarter, but this event that you guys are attending today, we do this every single month. Bar last month that we couldn't hold it, where we just bring an author of Nigerian origin to come and talk to us, come and share their work with us, and we engage them as we've had a very fantastic event this evening, this morning, this afternoon, depending on where you are joining us from today. And we also have other programs and initiatives that we do at LRF. So if you can join the link, you will be able to get to know as we roll out those events from time to time. So it's been a pleasure really having the author for today. I want to call Barrister Okay, if she's still here, to help us to give a vote of thanks to the author. I don't know if Mrs. Okay is here. Otherwise, I will call on Amos, please. Dr. Amos, please help us to appreciate, give the vote of thanks as we close the reading for today. Dr. Amos Akode from Abuja.
Okay, thank you so much, sir, for the opportunity. On behalf of the LRF team and the convenant of this program, we want to appreciate you for coming. The author for today, our invited guest, we thank you for honoring the invite, and we also enjoy your poems, which really we learned so much from it. I will thank you. We say God bless you, and we wish you best luck in your future endeavors. Thank you so much. God bless.
Thank you so much. With that vote of thanks.
So much. Thank you so much. I'm grateful.
Okay, you want to say something else before we close the session for today?
Okay. I am grateful.
So we hope that when you also have other works, we'll be able to call you some other time to come and also read to us from your other work so that we can also engage you, get to know more about, what have happened, between the last one you published and this one you read to us, and then what are the other things that you've written about? And we are always looking forward to having our authors back to come and read to us on this platform. So from Little Rock, I want to say thank you to everyone once again for joining us. Have a fantastic and blessed month of July.